So, in case you haven't noticed, I'm talking about portable emulation once again. The last and only other time I've ever talked about portable emulation was when I said you could just use your Android phone as a portable emulator. And I still pretty much agree with everything I said in that video. I still agree with the fact that if you already have an Android phone, you pretty much have a decent portable emulation device already in your pocket as it is. And if you're an iPhone user, you're better off just buying one of these portable emulators. And you know what? I decided that I would finally cave in. I finally bought myself one of these portable emulators. Now, you're probably wondering why. Why did I change my mind? Well, I was getting into playing a lot of pretty powerful Android games, stuff like Genshin Impact or Call of Duty Mobile, and it was taking up a lot of space on my phone. And well, mainly the emulators were as well, and including all the ROMs I had, and ROMs for GameCube and stuff like that. And big files like that can take up a lot of space on your phone very quickly. So yeah, it was basically just a storage issue. But at first, I didn't know which one to buy really. In fact, one of the first things I felt like maybe buying was maybe the Retroid Pocket 2 Plus. But I went on their official website and I think they're not even producing that unit anymore. I even went on other sites like Amazon, eBay. Well, you could find it on eBay for sure. Not a guarantee. Just not a guarantee you'll get a good one. I guess I don't know how. I don't know. Amazon, they're not selling it all anymore. I don't think it's just the Retroid Pocket 3 now. And the Retroid Pocket 3, as far as I know, I think it's $150, and I'm not about to pay that much just for that. So I decided to go the cheap route. This is known as the Anbernic RG35XX, and it's pretty much like the Miu Mini, another portable emulator that was pretty popular a while ago back. This is only about 80 something dollars if you buy it off of Amazon, 50 to 60 if you buy it on their official website. Although if you buy it on their official website, I don't know. From my experience, you might not even get it really. I don't know. It's just from all the way from China. So I went with the safe route. Yes, it's a bit more expensive, but it's the safer route to buy it from Amazon so I can guarantee that I actually get it. And for my first portable emulator, it works pretty well. Now, the amount of games this can play. Forgive me if I don't remember every single one. It can play all the way to NES, SNES, Game Boy, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance, Genesis, Master System, Game Gear, PlayStation 1. There's a bunch of other consoles it can play too, but stuff like the WonderSwan, and what I mean by that is consoles that you probably don't care too much about. At least I haven't. It features a 3.5-inch IPS display that I gotta say looks pretty damn gorgeous. The buttons, they feel great. They're not really clicky, but they're almost clicky. The D-pad, D-pad not really mushy at all. It feels soft, but at the same time it feels firm. Kind of like a Nintendo D-pad, but better maybe? I'm not sure. The triggers also very nice and clicky. I'm even clicking them in right now. I cannot get over this click. It came in with these very stock micro SD cards, and it came preloaded with thousands and thousands of games, along with their own stock firmware on this. And for the most part, when I was playing around with that for a while, the stock firmware was pretty decent for what it was, for what you could do. You know, you could just find your games, favorite them. They'll be easier to find in a favorites list, so you don't have to keep going to every single console and then scrolling through the thousands and thousands of games just to find them. You could also just click the little menu button right here, and it'll take you to the menu. You could just make a save state or load the save state you already have on it. Overall, the stock UI on this thing is pretty good as it is, and I would recommend to just keep it on the stock UI for those who don't want to really screw around too much with this thing, because I feel like that's the target audience for a device like this. But there is another OS we can put on this thing, a custom OS made by community known as Garlic OS. Now, the way I got Garlic OS on this thing, though, was, in hindsight, not the smartest thing to do. Now, you might be wondering, well, what do you mean by that? Didn't you just, I don't know, take the stock micro SD card and put Garlic OS onto that? Well, no. You're probably now thinking, well, that's okay. You probably got your own micro SD card and put Garlic OS on that, didn't you? Everyone does that as well. No, I didn't do that either. I went onto eBay and there was this guy who sells micro SD cards that come preloaded with Garlic OS already on it, as well as selling micro SD cards that have Onion OS for the Mio Mini already on it. This, it was not the safest move. It works. It works. Don't worry. Like, look, I can turn it on right now and it'll work. Yeah, look. Yeah, see that? Yeah, we're rocking just fine. But again, in hindsight, this was not the safest idea to do. I don't recommend it to anybody trying to put Garlic OS on their Anbernic or Onion OS on their Mio Mini to go out and just buy one that's preloaded with it from some guy on eBay. I don't recommend it. It wasn't the safest idea. It works, thankfully. Plus, I paid like $40 for that. Yeah. When I could have just figured out how to put Garlic OS on this thing for free. But the thing is, I did try to do that. It's just that the 7-zip file would not unzip. When I tried to use 7-zip file manager, I also tried other things like WinRAR, and it just kept saying like the file was corrupted, so I had no idea what was going on. But again, it could have been something I could have just figured out on my own and decided not to for some reason. I don't know why, but yeah. But if there's anything I can say, Garlic OS on this thing is very fantastic. It comes with like a variety of features. I can't name them all because I don't know them all, but it gives this thing a proper sleep mode, and by that I mean just tapping the button turns the system off. So say you're in a game already. You tap it, you turn it off. It's in sleep mode. You turn it right back on, and it'll go right back to where you were in that game already. It also can do multitasking. And I'll even do it right now. Yep, you can see it moving. You can see it going and stuff. Now the menu button, go out of it. Then we'll go to freaking Sonic 3 and Knuckles. And then boom, it's already playing like that. And yeah, that's kind of how this new Garlic OS is for me. It's really good. It makes the experience a lot better in my opinion. There's also a lot of hotkey things you can do with it. Like for example, you have to hold the menu button and then hit the volume buttons to adjust the brightness. It's a little weird and kind of hard to remember every single one, but there is a way for you to just look at it. You can just hold the menu button and it'll show you all the hotkeys that you can do. You'll get the hang of it eventually. Now, I should probably actually get into talking about how this thing plays everything. And from my experience, it plays everything just amazing. Like I said, it can play from the NES all the way up to PlayStation 1. And the emulation quality is just great. One thing I did notice when watching a bunch of reviews for this thing is that a lot of people kept saying there's a slight D-pad issue. It sometimes favors horizontal movements a little too much, and for example, it could make spin dashing in any Sonic game a little hard to do. Um, I almost never noticed the slight D-pad issue. Maybe because I got my unit months after it came out and months after everybody did their reviews on it. So maybe they started fixing that D-pad issue. I'm not sure. It's also kind of comfortable in the handheld, sorta. Really, not really. It's not really that comfortable to hold for long play sessions. I thought the bigger size for it would make it a lot easier to hold, but unlike the Mio Mini, but not by much. It's still very uncomfortable to hold and try to go for some of these other triggers for PlayStation 1 games. But I mean, you're not mostly playing PlayStation 1 games. You're mostly playing the 2D stuff. The D-pad feels fine. The buttons feel fine. Everything is in a spot that feels fine to play the games and stuff. And the build quality is pretty good overall. Anbernic, from what I hear, is usually pretty good when it comes to their build quality in their consoles. Overall, I'm not disappointed in this device at all. Oh wait, another thing, I literally just now remember this. Another thing this thing has is a micro HDMI port. So if you can figure out how to get that working, you could play this on your TV if you wanted to, which is cool. I just haven't used that myself because I don't really care to. and that's really my overall thoughts on the Anbernic RG35XX. Again, I think it's a really good portable emulator for a budgeted price for your start into portable emulation devices. Yeah, I'd say for the most part, I can now see why people love these little things. They're pretty handy to keep around, and yeah, I'm gonna just keep this around me whenever I go to work. But what do you guys think about the RG35XX? Do you want to buy one as well? Does this thing seem pretty cool to you? I'll leave links for Amazon as well as their official website in the description below. So in case you do want to buy one of these for yourself, no, again, you're kind of taking a bit of a risk when buying it from their official website. I don't know how guaranteed it is that you'll actually get the device. I wish I could tell you, but I don't know. It's just a bit. I'm just a bit more comfortable you using Amazon, but I'm sure somebody out there is gonna be like, well, I'd rather buy it from the other side that's a bit cheaper. I'm like, yeah, I get that. I get that. So yeah, I'll see y'all next time.